I'm gonna start talking now. I'm just waiting for it to go live. Okay, cool. We are live on Facebook. So welcome back to the Facebook family that are watching. You know, wherever you are in the world. It's good to see some of you watching and everything, and yeah, sharing your comments and everything. Welcome to another segment of the conference. My name is Dylan Piri. We are now going to the panel of being young and creative in Africa with three amazing creatives across the continent, doing amazing stuff, winning awards, you know, doing the amazing work that they're doing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so let's get into it. Please introduce yourselves, who you are and what you do. Let's start with Luladay. You're the furthest away from us.
All right. Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Luladay Tshuma. Most people know me by Lula. I'm an artist. I am a co-founder of Kamer. It's a fashion brand based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I'm currently based in Rwanda, but I also travel back and forth to Ethiopia. So I work in education as well. So I'm an educator and an artist.
Wow, amazing.
So over to
have you. Cool. Who wants to go next?
First, ladies first.
Oh, okay. So yeah, my name is Kenyaa. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm a writer and a conceptual artist, and I also do photography, which I like to joke that pays the bills. So, but my niche work is what I focus on in my writing, and I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa, currently. That's all I can say.
Cool.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you. Shout out to everyone like watching on the Facebook platform. I'm Katlego Tshuma, conceptual artist as well. Yeah, I dabble like in a couple of mediums, design, photography, video, motion graphics, art direction. Yeah, so yeah, that's just me in a nutshell.
Cool. Cool. Let's start with Lula. What is it like being a creative, well, basically between Rwanda and Ethiopia? What is your kind of state? How do you feel about it? Yeah.
It's actually pretty interesting. So for me, actually, the designing and the fashion part actually comes out when I'm in Ethiopia and when I'm in Addis. And when I'm in Rwanda, I'm more of a painter and I sketch and I do photography and things. So it's like the medium is a bit different.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that this morning, and it's different in the sense that the environment that I'm in and also how available things are kind of fits into my creative process. So if it's safe and if I have like a quieter space, then that's when I get to do a lot of painting and a lot of pieces that really resonate who I am. While the fashion part is more like expressive and on the outer side, which usually gets to be expressed when I'm in Addis and when I'm meeting my old friends and my family and everybody surrounding me. And that's the environment that I grew up in. So I'm more of on the outside in Addis and inside when I'm in Rwanda. So yeah,
that's
pretty
amazing.
Interesting.
And for you, Katlego, what's like being a creative in well, I don't know where you are now. Not Johannesburg.
Currently, I'm in Palito. Yeah, I'm on holiday. Yeah, it's like, but being a creative, like, I think it's one of the most rewarding things like anyone could ever like try pursue. You know, it's like there's a nice quote by Edwin Booth who was like paraphrasing at this point, like you will know like enjoyment and like happiness that's like known to like a very few, and yeah, like that's just like for me like the bulk of it, like what being a creative is, you know, like the ability to see something that was just in your mind at some point and to see it and give it life, you know, and have someone else enjoy it with you. And I think like that's the best part about being a creative.
Yeah. And Kenya?
So for me, I mean, I was so nervous. I forgot to mention I'm a film producer. That's actually my qualification. But yeah, being a creative, I think what I enjoy, especially in Cape Town, there's so many different types of creatives here. Well, I've never lived anywhere else, but they're so accessible, I guess, because it's so small. And it's a very creative city. So I enjoy that aspect, and I enjoy the fact that I can. Um, it's accessible in the sense that I can see other people's work and it can inspire me, um, and just I can also tap into that, and just evolve. I like the evolution part of being a creative. Like personally, I've never been stagnant. I've always had like a path I'd like to go to and a certain destination. Those destinations have helped me grow as a creative and as an individual. So I've really seen how the environment I'm in has helped that, and helped shape me, and just to be able to grow and morph. So that's what I really love, the experience of just being able to change and see yourself. And in that, you archiving also, because everything you create, basically, you can look back and be like, oh, I did that, even though you might not like it. It was a point in your life. So yeah, I like that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, archiving. I mean, it's interesting. We create live and we get to see it and then we dump it, but then we can always come back to it later on and really look at it. Oh, I made that. Oh, wow. Okay, that was crap, or that was good, or you can learn from those ideas and all kind of stuff. I mean, let's go back to the beginning. What got you all into the creative industry? When you were like, what are those triggers and inspirations and moments? Was it through education? Was it just, okay, I'm gonna try and do it myself and see what happens? How did you all enter into the creative industry? I can start with Lula again, I guess. Yeah.
All right. So I think for me, it was never really education, I would say. I think art was the first thing to be chopped off whenever there wasn't really enough budget for the school, right? So it was never really a priority, but for me, it was my cousin, and we used to live together, and he used to sketch. So whenever he sketched, I sketched whatever he sketched. And it was just imitating that and growing up in that kind of environment and just loving like anything that has to do with art is what got me into it. But that has shifted in a lot of ways, growing into fashion and then leaving the sketching and then picking it up again, or even starting painting in 2017. So it really evolved over time, but the way that it started was at home, I would say, and when I was little. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. At least you had someone to siphon off, the beginning,
Yes,
and the
most
nerves and
definitely.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
for you, Steph or Kenya?
Yeah, like I always say this, I started as a writer first, and words mean a lot to me. So I've always wanted to depict my words, or be able to show people, well, make my words come to life, you could say. So because of that, I wanted to draw, but I can't, and I can't do it in the way that I would like to. I'm not a fine artist. So, or I can't do hyper real images. So I got into photography, and that's how I learned about conceptual photography, and it kind of just snowballed into what it is now. But I essentially I got into creativity because I wanted to pick the things that I was writing about and the thoughts in my head, or what I see basically. And photography was the most accessible thing that I had at that time. I was self-taught, so I just started with whatever I had. But yeah, and then I went into mixed media and all of that as it progressed. Yeah, I started off like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I can't draw also, and photography does help
Yeah.
in the process of ideas.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
now it's a bit easier.
Okay. Katlego, how did you get into the creative industry with all the disciplines you do?
For me, so right out of high school, I went into like the job market. So like literally been working since like out of high school. Never went to varsity. Literally taught myself like everything that I do. But it started for me like I can say I've been like a creator for a good 7 years now. But yeah, in 2013, quit my job at the airport, bought a camera, and never looked back ever since, you know. And yeah, for me, it's just like self-teaching, you know, like thank God for the internet and YouTube, you know. It's like, yeah, I think like for me, like that's the best like part about it. Like I've taught myself like almost everything that I do off of the internet and yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, you just won the Nando's Hot Young Designer with that amazing bench. You know, that's incredible from a self-taught. You're validating us who are all self-taught. You know, by being able to win such prestigious awards here in South Africa. So for all of you, yeah. No, go
I
ahead.
was saying, I think like being self-taught is that I think school like certainly like does limit you sometimes. You find that there's a lot of people who went to school who say like my teacher taught me this and this is how to do it. And if you're self-taught, it's kind of like you're finding it out as you go, you know. And if you can win a couple of awards as well, then it shows that yeah, you don't necessarily need like an institution or a physical institution to learn, as long as like you're willing to like give it a go, you know, and it's like you'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Kenya, I'll come back to you. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced as a young creative, right, in your journey?
Oh, this is quite a lot. There's personal ones and there's like external ones. The personal ones is probably a lot of the time influenced by external factors. Like, for instance, one that I'm still, I might be struggling with or that demotivates me is just being, okay, I'm self-taught and self-represented / self-managed. So constantly learning on your own and constantly trying on your own. I mean, obviously I have support from other people in terms of like, but it's something that I have to make time for. It's something that I have to actively seek. There's nobody who's like, okay, at 2 o'clock you have this and that, you know, we've scheduled this and somebody managing you basically, or representing you, doing the admin side and the PR side. So I'm my own entire agency, and that is my biggest, it makes me happy, and at the same time, it makes me super frustrated because, yeah, like I'm an artist, I'm not an admin person, I'm administrator. So it really can just demotivate you, constantly hitting no's, constantly being faced with answering people, feeling out of your league in terms of the people that you might have to talk to. So I guess, I don't know how it works with people who are represented, but I would like to assume that when you're represented by, say, a gallery or an agency, they handle all that admin side, and they speak to the big leagues. And for me, speaking to people who are way ahead of me intimidates me at times, and it makes me feel like, what am I even doing? Why do I even think that I can walk into a place or just be like, can I do this in your space, or can I, you know, I deserve to do this? And that can, the imposter syndrome and all of that, like, can settle in, and I'm struggling with that. So that is internal and external factors. But at the same time, so now in the beginning, it was also equipment and all those things. But when I went to varsity and the further up I climbed, those became very, they're not a thing so much. So I guess the further you go, or the further I've gone, certain things I don't see as an issue anymore, but they were. But right now it's just staying motivated when you hear a no, remembering who I am, remembering that I deserve to be in a certain space, that I'm not an imposter, that I, like remembering all those things and affirming myself constantly. Yeah, I think that's my current, my struggle.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, because whew, it can be tough, eh? But you keep going, you try and you try. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all inherently suffer from imposter syndrome because we are all iterating as we go and stuff. And when
Yeah.
someone says no, you're like, but I'm trying my best, and then sometimes it hits you hard. And I
Yeah.
think, I thought you were gonna say rent. For me, rent is the most annoying challenge as a creative. Why do we still have to pay rent when we create so much? I think that's the most bizarre thing. Like, it's month end now, I gotta think about rent. What about all things
Exactly.
I create?
Yeah, true.
So yeah,
True,
that's
true.
my personal challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that one before, though. I've heard that one. Yeah.
And Lula, what are some of the challenges that you're facing as a creative?
I think I definitely agree with space. It may not be rent, like just finding space to keep things together, especially if you travel a lot. Like for me, where do I keep my pieces and where is it gonna be, like how am I gonna keep it, or how am I going to make sure it gets to the customers right? And all of these things are an issue. But I think I really agree with Kenya, because also not knowing which network you need to be in, or not knowing what kind of steps you have to take in order to scale up or to grow for yourself professionally. I think that is really lacking. And you may be there are some platforms, and even here today, like that actually connects African artists together, but I think that lacks a lot when it comes to the creative industry in Africa. And I think and just to know like which people to talk to and what to do, and that's also how to market, how to brand yourself. And sometimes being humble takes over, and you don't really market your brand as you should, or you don't talk about it as you should. And just trying to figure out what tools to use and what to do is, I think, the most challenging at this point.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, the marketing. I'm not good at marketing anything. Once it's done, it's out of my hands. I'm not in the mood for it anymore. Talk about it for what, they're seeing it. So I think, definitely that's a big challenge. I think because I think other parts of the world have figured out marketing very well. So it's quite easy once you really have something amazing for it to kind of go viral or scale and stuff. Here, I think we're still in our teething stages of appreciating creativity and its natural state and stuff. Yeah. No, definitely, I hear you on that. And Katlego, what are some of the challenges that you're facing as a creative?
For me, it's like, I'd say like finding the right network. I feel like winning the Nando's competition has shown me like there are networks out there that can help you, like distribution, logistics, stuff like that. I think like that's the bulk of like what a lot of us creatives struggle with. Like, how do I get this thing that I've created out into the public or out into the customer's hand, And yeah, I feel like, thank God to like winning that competition with Nando's, that I'm now being able to see like how can I take like product and put it out there into the world, But that has been like the biggest frustration for me. Is like, and as you say, like doing like different like mediums, sometimes you don't know. It's like, okay, I have a book now. How do I get this book into like the public hands? Okay, I have a website now that I'm running. How do I send it like links to someone else? Like, I designed a page. How do I show the rest of the world? But I do think it's like finding the right networks and like the right, I could say like logistics as well. It's like just finding the right people to help you like take your idea from like just idea into like reality and eventually like profit into your pockets. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Distribution has always been a challenge. I mean, we saw it with our book a couple of months back, like trying to distribute it. Like, how do you distribute a book from Africa to the world, basically, from South Africa at the bottom, shipping it to, it's funny enough, it's more expensive to ship a book to Kenya or to Ethiopia or to Rwanda than it is to ship to the UK. It's cheaper to ship it to the UK, you know, which is strange. It should be cheaper within our continent and stuff. And there isn't that many big marketplaces like as big as Amazon for the continent, you know. So it's definitely a tricky space in terms of distribution and stuff. And then I mean, for you, Katlego, just a quick question, just a funny question for me. How much Nando's did you get then? Do you not have a card to eat as much chicken as you want?
But the thing is that I went like vegan a couple of months ago.
Wow.
I'll be eating chicken, you know, as far as at the workshop I ate chicken, you know, because I can't be rude, you know. But besides that, I haven't eaten much chicken, man. Like, I'm trying to stay away from meat as much as possible. But I do not have like a lifetime subscription to chicken. I'm only designing benches, guys, and baby lights and a couple of other furniture pieces. But Nando's still makes chicken. If you want chicken, go buy chicken at Nando's.
If they do slide you a card, please throw it at me. You know, I live close to the headquarters of Nando's here in Joburg, so do send me the card. Yeah, but and then in terms of family, right? I think as young creatives, we don't we struggle to explain our creativity more so to our families. How have your families kind of received your journeys as creatives and stuff? Who wants to go first on that one? Yeah.
I'll go.
I can go. Yeah. Go ahead.
But for me personally, like my family doesn't understand what I do. Thank God I don't have parents, so I don't have to explain like to my parents what I do. So my sister still thinks like I draw cartoon characters, which is like okay with me. You know, it's like she doesn't have to fully understand what I do as long as like she can see that I'm happy and successful in my life. And for me, that's okay, you know. But yeah, I do find like it's very hard to explain like why do you have a camera today? Tomorrow you're drawing on pencils. The following day you're on your computer. It's like pick a medium, you know. But it's like it doesn't matter to me. You know, it's like to me it all stems from the same place, you know. And yeah, it does get very difficult, like trying to explain to like my sister who like when you tell her like what platforms do you use and you're like Cinema 4D and she's like what and you're like no, it's okay. I draw cartoons, you know. And yeah, I think for me, that's what I've learned is that I create for me and not like anyone else. And if they see the final product and they're happy with the final product, shout out to that. But if not, new project, new idea, we keep it moving.
Yeah. I mean, for Lula, before you answer this question, I think if you could also add in on, because you're also in education. So then how do you explain to your peers in the education system that you are also inherently a creative and then there's family also? How do you balance all that?
Yes. So I think like growing up, obviously my family has been, I'm grateful. They have been supportive, even though they don't know the details as to how and what I do, but they like whenever I create and whenever I do something, they do appreciate it and they give it time to understand. So I think that's what I can hope for and that's what I like. But I think in the education sector, it is difficult. It is difficult to try and help parents understand what art is or how you can make money with art and how you can be successful as an artist. And it's a very difficult thing to do. And we still, as Africans also, we think about these doctor and engineer and whatever still being like the highest professions there could be, and just getting the students, their kids into that sort of journey as well. And sometimes it is you cannot convince a parent, and it becomes very difficult. But at the same time, they would say, you know, oh, you did this, okay, that's great, but how much do you earn? Like how much money do you make? And you know, are you successful with that too? So it's a constant ask, and I think it's gonna take us a long time to try and shift that behavior if we want to, but at the same time is I think they're also coming from the idea of, are you going to be successful in the eyes of other people, right? Because at the end of the day, our parents want to say, my child did this, or my child is doing this. So if you are going to be persistent, and if you are going to be an artist, and if you are fully in it, and I think it is, yes, it is a journey and it's a process, but you will get there. And once you get there, I think they will have the aha moment, or hope that they would, and continue to do what you love to do. So yeah.
Am I supposed to just be frozen?
I think so.
Do I just answer probably?
Maybe you will join us soon.
Right?
Maybe somebody else should host it now.
Right.
Continue the conversation, right?
Oh, he's actually gone though. Like he's,
Hi guys, this is Jillian, and I'm sorry that you can't see me. Okay, now you can. Sorry for being in the dark. I think Jillian has connectivity issues because of the storm that's in Joburg and Pretoria. So I'm not sure if Wabiri would love to step in, or if we would wait for Dillian.
Okay, not sure I'll be able to actually show my face, but I'll take this on. I think I like the conversation, considering the fact that we're talking about how our parents perceive of our creativity. And I think that's really important. I liked what Luladay said, that sometimes we just have to take that on and see how that comes up. I would like to also get a sense of, since we're talking about being young and creative in Africa, what do young people think about support in terms of their creativity? And I think I'll get Katlego on that to talk about if you wanted to be supported as a creative and you wanted that kind of environment that fosters to see you grow, what are some of the things that you're thinking about?
Right. Personally, I've been looking at like people like Kanye West, your Takashi Murakami's, your Jeff Koons. It's like these are conceptual artists who figured out that as much as I create art, I'm a production house. It's like the art that I'm creating can be produced by other hands, can be executed by other people. And I think that's a very difficult one to like think about as an artist, because a lot of times like artists, we want to be the creators, like it's my project, I want to be hands-on creating it. But I feel like the more and more you create, and eventually when you get to like conceptual artists, you realize that the concept is mine. The concept is mine. Whoever the hands are, or whoever's hands are doing the project, at the end of the day, doesn't really matter, because the project wouldn't exist without my idea, And yeah, it's just like getting to that point where you realize that you just own the IP, and the execution doesn't really matter as long as it's a good quality product, And I think Lula experiences this in like fashion, It's like, I'm sure you can't like sew 100 dresses on your own, And eventually like it's okay to get hands, Yeah.
All right, Michelle, I think we got Dylan coming in, but what is that thing that you think should be put in place for you to actually thrive as a young creative? And you feel that is something you'd want to see, to guarantee your success.
I bet you're saying me, but I can see why you said Michelle, because I'm using my sister's laptop, but it's okay. So just repeat the question. I kind of got lost there.
No, I think since we're talking about young and creative in Africa, I just wanted to get a sense of what young people think about in terms of support systems. And we've talked about parents not being very supportive, or some of them being supportive and not understanding what it is that we're doing. And I'm trying to get a much more deeper understanding of what do young creatives want to be put in place for them to be able to thrive. So I just want to get a sense of your personal, you as a creative, what is that thing that you think should be put in place? It could be the government, it could be your parents, it could be society, for you to be able to thrive.
So I'm in a new space now in my creative walk, and I feel like once again, like I said, the theme with this creative walk with mine is that it keeps evolving, whether good or bad, but more good than bad. So the issues change, or the structures that are need to change, or for support to change. And currently in this new walk for me, it's definitely access to, I don't want to say a space, because that's very vague, but I'm going to say funding, one of them, because the type of ideas I have in my head, I'm done with small ideas, as arrogant or as what the hell does that mean, or condescending as it may sound. I don't want to do small things anymore. I want to make major things happen that are in my head that I know for a fact takes money. And I'm tired of doing smaller things because I cannot get to the major things that I would like to do because of funding. And as much as we love saying apply for XYZ, let's be real, we're not all going to get that funding. And then we have to rely on our own pockets, or by luck, or by blessing, something comes through, and then you create from that. But so for my what I would love to see in terms of support is more accessible funding, or making funding more transparent, or I don't know what needs to happen, that funding needs to be unlocked a bit better. Maybe I don't understand it so well, but I would like to think I do. And I'd like access to certain rooms. I'm not saying it must be a free for all, that's not what I'm saying, but I feel like there is in South Africa a blockage of some sort from where I'm at, to the kids who are behind me, to the people who are in front of me. The flow doesn't seem so, it doesn't seem like it flows as it should. So funding and access to certain tables, we could say, whatever it is, certain rooms, certain whatever it is, the people who make things happen. I'd like that. I'm on that level now where I'd like to just be like, yo, obviously I'm aware of how things work. So, but with all that being said and thought of, I would like funding, and I'd like the freedom to create, and the seriousness to backing it also, because it's not just somebody's making a mural and, oh, it looks pretty. There's a story behind it. There's a story behind the film. There's a story behind why we create, and I'd like it to be taken with more weight and more seriousness than it is currently being taken in this country. I'd like to think, like, I don't think we take our creators seriously here, and I think that's why there's a lot of blockage within certain aspects of creativity. Yeah.
Brilliant. I think Dillion is here, so I think Dillion will take on from that. But Lula, I would also like to hear from you on that very point, and then maybe Dillion can take over. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of you. I think as far as valuing artwork or artists goes, I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done. I think on a bigger scale, on a government scale, I think just looking at art as one ministry or like one entity is really important, because right now, like when I look at Ethiopia, it's probably like culture and tourism, which are really like under one ministry, and art is not given that time or that that much investment or that much attention. And I don't think people understand how much weight and how much money it could also bring with it. And I think that's what needs to be done on a bigger scale. But on a smaller scale, I think it is also finding ways to collaborate with each other. I think I am also done with small small projects, but also maybe, when you put heads together, when you put funds together, there are things that could happen that could potentially be something big. And I think I am very hopeful with collaborations and trying to make things happen, even if other people cannot do that for us. And I also think for us independently, just whenever we talk about support, it's not just liking it on Instagram or, sharing it or whatever, but also really trying to understand what the artist needs. Sometimes it can just be as simple as a brush, or it can be as simple as making a connection with somebody or creating that network for somebody else. So really thinking about and listening to the artist is really important. So on an individual level and on friends level and family level, I think that's what we as artists need to communicate, and them as friends need to ask and support in that way, and just making it a little bit more specific as to what we need. And I think it's very simple to talk about it, I think, than actually doing it and getting it done for us as well. But yes, I think it's a step at least, and trying to say, this is what I need support in within our own little circle that actually understands as well. So that means within the artist circle as well, just saying this is what I need is something that we could gain a little bit from. So yeah.
Cool. Sorry about that. I got kicked out of the Zoom. I don't know why. It's hating on me. But yeah, I mean, definitely, there's definitely for most type of structures, I think, from government, from the community itself. And I mean, we spoke about that earlier on in our conversation with the other panelists around creators being the first customers basically to each other, right? Really trading with each other and really showcasing each other and really collaborating on that level of like, okay, I can only afford your small painting. Okay, buy that then, I think it's super paramount. So we really harness that network and stuff. I mean, something that we're trying to do, creativeness is to harness that network and create opportunities to meet and collaborate and work together and exchange actual money instead of just likes and stuff. So yeah, definitely there's a need for support on that kind of level. I mean, with you still here, Lula, how important has mentorship been for your journey as a creative? Right, speaking about collaboration and everything, but how about the mentorship side?
Yeah. So I think for me, at least, as I mentioned it earlier, I was able to just do the drawings that my cousin was doing, and I think that has created something in me because I was a child as well. But also growing up, obviously, that did not really sustain. So I had to find my own ways of, trying to keep the inspiration going, and also trying to look up to somebody or talk to somebody. And I think the most important part for me has been talking to other creatives, because sometimes it feels like you are the only one going through paper. And I'm just gonna leave it there. But it feels like you are the only one having to, struggle with finances, or it can be just even getting stuck with your own ways, and you have the vision for it, but you don't really know how to put it out there. And just talking about it really helps, because other people get it too, and not feeling like you are the only one having to go through that is definitely the most important part. And that also comes by finding the networks and finding other people to talk to, and finding that safe space again. So it is definitely important, because we need guidance. Like, as much as we say, I've got this and I'm, independent, or I'm self-taught and whatever, we still need guidance and we still need support. So it is definitely important, and finding that it's going to be a journey for ourselves. Sometimes we find people that may not be helpful for us, but as soon as we figure out who we are as artists and what we want, I think it also aligns with the people that we attract. So I think finding mentorship in that way is also important, even though it's not like an artist mentor. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely peer-to-peer mentorship is key, because your peers understand your struggle and the personal struggles also. So I think that's super key. I mean, I rely mainly on peer-to-peer mentorship, not necessarily someone I look up to and stuff. So yeah. And for you, Kenya, how important has been mentorship in your journey as a creative?
I think I'm also, like, I agree with you both on the peer-to-peer mentorship thing. I think the only type of mentorship I've got where the person is ahead of me, you could say, is in varsity. And that was, it was very contained. It wasn't like the type of mentorship I think we might be speaking of now, that it's mentorship, but it's very contained and it's within varsity grounds and things like that. So I think peer-to-peer mentorship has been the most important one for me, because like Lulu said, she you articulated it well when you said that it's nice to know that you're not the only person going through something, or you can learn from somebody else's mistakes and build on that, and you can both maybe brainstorm a solution or collaborate or do something about it. So I think the mentorship that came with others who are maybe in the same boat as me, or have just overcome that hurdle, or that have gone ahead of me by a bit, that's been the most helpful. I haven't yet been mentored by a somebody's like, I don't know if they have the time even, do they? I've tried to reach out, I won't lie, but I have no hard feelings. I can understand it's not the easiest thing to mentor people. So yeah, peer-to-peer is probably the best for me.
Yeah. And you, Katlego?
Personally, I think peer-to-peer is cool when it comes to like discussing our work, as in like, can I get better here? Can I get better there? But I do definitely think like a lot of creatives, we do like, it would be great if we got like business mentorship, you know. I think a lot of creatives, like, we going at it like, I'm creating and hopefully like someone will buy, you know. But if we started going at it like business from day one, you know, I think that would be much better. If like you had like, even if it's not in the same industry, but someone who's figured out like what business is in their own particular industry, and then like just taking that and bringing it into like your own craft. Because yeah, like, it's cool that like peer-to-peer we can discuss, but it gets difficult when I'm asking my peer for like 100 billion to pursue an idea, you know. It's like, I don't have that 100 million cat for you, you know. It's like, I'm trying to get 100 million for myself, you know. But yeah, it would be much better if we had like more business like mentorship. I think, yeah, for me, that's what's also exciting about like the Nando's competition, is that there's a business element attached to it, that I'm gonna be able to like run my own design practice, like with the helping of like Nando's. And Nando's is not coming in like from what are you creating? It's coming in like, how do you create like a sustainable business, you know? And I think that's what's important, like going forward, that as creators, we look at like business, and like we're actually in the business of creating products. You know, it's like, yes, it might be a painting, it might be a fashion dress, but let's start thinking about it as products first, and then like art after that, you know. Because yeah, like, it's hard for people to buy art if you're gonna go at it as like art. But if you go at it as product, at least like with product, you can eventually get to like a market, you know, where you can look at like different markets for like the different products. But if you're gonna wanna look at it as art, I think you're gonna get into like the frustration like Lula was talking about, like governments don't understand like what are we doing as artists. Like in South Africa, like art and sports are categorized within like the same like department. But me personally, like screw the government, like let's go at it with like capitalism, you know. And I think with capitalism, it's much better for us. Then we can trade, you know. It's like I give you this, you give me that, you pay me, I pay you. If you can't pay me, I'll volunteer a skill. We can trade skills, you know. And I think that's much better. But as I said, like it eventually gets like stuck when we have to now like Kenya's trying to get like 10 million to pursue her idea. I don't have 10 million at this point to give her to just play around with her ideas, you know. So I think, yeah, what's important is let's look at it as business first and then practice after, you know.
Yeah.
I think if you look at like doctors, you know, like when you're a doctor, yes, you're a doctor, but when you start your own practice, it's a business first, and then you run your doctoring practice. I think as artists, we should like probably start looking at it like that as well. You know, it's like I'm here running a business, and then our business just so happens that we sell art products or we sell design products, you know. But at the end of the day, it's still like return on investment, and yeah, let's do it for the money.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of broke artists.
Yeah, we all definitely don't want to be broke artists 10 years from now on. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to, I agree with Katlego, though there's the other side of us where we entered. I think you grow to that. And I'm sure you also probably agree that you grow to that, because when I entered the creative space, it was not from a business-minded side, not because I didn't want to make money, but because it was a personal, like I think a lot of the time as creatives, when we create, we're just so happy to create and have our thing out there. And then later on, you're like, oh, I can make money from this. And that is, it might be an ignorance or a knowledge where we don't have knowledge about how to create, how to make money from our creations. And that's where we get exploited. And then that's when you start hearing people are charging like, what was the first amount I thought I should charge for an artwork, was something like 250 Rand. Because I didn't know about this money thing, you know, I didn't know how to attach value to what I'm doing in terms of a monetary value. So the business side of it will suffer, because you might even be business minded, but sometimes when it comes to creativity, it's so personal. You're just happy to make something pretty, or you're so happy to tell the story that gaining money from it might not be your first thought. I think the first person who put money into my mind about all of this was my mom, especially if you created, like I said, I'll reiterate, creating from this, the angle of just being happy to create. I'm a creative who's not necessarily industry. I'm not into what's happening in industry. I'm not trying to make the most. If I create a film, I'm not trying to hit the highest grossing film of all time type of thing, you know. I'm just trying to create niche work. And yes, money is obviously an important conversation with that. But I think for me, first is how it looks before anything. And obviously money takes money to do all of that. But like I said, yeah, so I think that's where the business side suffers, because a lot of us go in thinking that this thing is just so lovely to do, and you know, it's romanticized a lot of the time, but you have to eat at the end of the day, and you have to make money, and you have to produce more work, and that's when you start growing. Or I'll say again, I started growing and started realizing, actually, I need to climb. I need to make money from this. This is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And if I want it to be the only thing I'm doing, I need to sustain myself. And then I started learning about ways to monetize what I'm doing. And that's when I said the photography aspect and the filming or videography aspect sustains me. And then the niche work does sustain me, but monetizing that sometimes is more difficult. So I think I agree with you, Katlego. We do probably need to hit first also with the business side too, or at least alongside it, and remember it as much as we do remember that, and get some knowledge with that also.
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah. No, definitely, it's a balancing act. I think the sooner you think money, the sooner you make it. I think if you leave it to the end, you're gonna struggle, because then it's like the conversation is shifting constantly, and I think creators really think more about money and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think just in the interest of time, one last question. What's next for you young creatives in Africa? Where do you see yourselves kind of going in terms of trajectory, basically? Yeah. Anyone can go first. This is that moment for those big ideas to be said out to the world, to be manifested, as they say on Twitter. What would you like to accomplish, basically, with your creativity, basically? Yeah.
It's a big question. All right, I'll go. Okay, good. Okay, I'll go.
Go, yeah.
Okay, so I think for me as an individual, I think I am really driven with the idea of bringing creatives within the continent together, right? And just trying to learn about what we do. I think we know a lot about outside of the continent. We know a lot, as in it is publicized, obviously, and the media is there, and we know a lot about it, but we don't know anything about what the neighboring countries are doing and what kind of movies they're making, what kind of photographers there are. Like, I don't think we know each other enough. And I think I am really hoping that happens soon. And also, like, with my brand, what we do is we've created like a section where we are open to any sorts of creatives who want to collaborate with us, just to bring in new audience. So like from a different country coming into Ethiopia, you will have a whole new audience who's ready to watch what's next, right? So that in and of itself will allow us to learn about that one artist from a different country who does this, and their work is going to be appreciated in a whole new environment. And I think that sorts of environment has to be created for us just to show what we do and get recognized in different countries. And that will also allow us to broaden our audience, obviously, and also grow as artists as well. So that is my main focus, to collaborate with others and just shine together, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely that's possible. This is the beginning of that. Well, no, or part of that journey, not beginning, but part of that outward looking journey. I think that's super important. Yeah, definitely. Katlego?
For me, as I said, it's like getting into production, I've gotten to a point in my life where I really realized that, most of the ideas that I have won't probably be executed by my own hands, and I think that's what's important, like realizing that I'm at a point in my life where I just have to play with the ideas. We can get the hands and get someone else to like do the work, and I think that's a very important one for me, because I've realized, like, for example, like with furniture, like I genuinely have no interest in like making or being a carpenter in my life, but I can definitely find one of the best carpenters out there, and like, as Lula said, collaborate with them to bring my idea into life, and going into the future for me is like running like production houses like Jeff Koons, like Kors, your Takashi Murakami's, your Kanye's, and I feel like for me that's what's important, like realizing that you have the ideas, you just need to find a way to set up a business that can allow you to take those ideas and like bring them into the world, and yeah, there's a couple of books I've been reading, like there's a great book called The E-Myth Architect. They just show you like basically like the ways you can go about it, and like finding the right way to go about like being a creative, and I think architecture is like one of those industries where like if anyone got the chance, like we'd all try like building our own houses, and it's like, or building like the next skyscraper. And I think like architecture is like a great, almost like a prototype of an industry that the architect comes with the idea, the engineer comes with the structure, and everyone else like builds the house, and I think like we need to start looking at like our own ideas like that. Like, how do I take this idea that I have and get all the other minds and all the other hands that I can put into this idea in order for the rest of us to like make profit. But yeah, for me, going to the future, it's all about profit, man. I want to make money.
No, I like that. I mean, we have to. I mean, something I was talking about, like for the last 10 years of my life, I've been wanting to create community and experiment on every idea, right? But everything has been small scale, like you're talking about earlier on, Kenya. But now I have this idea of these grand ideas, and as Katlego mentioned, no one's got that money around you. So you have to go look elsewhere. So I want to be that person that people come to for money. I want to be that billionaire that is the patron of the African creative industry. And it takes that blatant saying, I need to make money so I can be able to do what I want and stuff. And I like that, you know, because we have to, I think we have so much potential, but then we would limit ourselves sometimes in our framing of it. Like I don't know, if I test out this idea, then that's it, you know. So I think, I mean, we have to be honest with the world we're in. Money makes money, you know. So yeah. And in Kenya, what's the plan?
So definitely making money, obviously. that's important, and that's well, one of the definite keys, or for the doors that I want to open, and I need to find that key and open that door. I definitely don't just want to make money for just the sake, like you have a purpose for your money. I definitely want to make money, obviously, to make the ideas that I want, to bring them to fruition and help others, specifically Black African female creatives. I want to help women just be able to create what they want to create, and listen to their ideas and believe in their ideas. With that being said, I'm moving into definitely full-time film critiquing. I think that's an important part. It coincides well with my writing, and I'm a huge film. To me, is one of the crafts of this world that I will just always be a stand for. And I'm entering that space. I mean, I've been in the space, but now more formally. And talking mainly about African filmmakers and Black filmmakers and Black actors, because I've said this many times before, I don't think we give Black actors the weight that they deserve, whether they are right up there with Denzel or Viola Davis, those types. Specifically also in South Africa, I think we don't speak about South African actors with the weight that we deserve. Sometimes we just see them as actors and just people on our screens because they're acting Muvango or Generations or something. We don't see the craft, that they are actual people who studied this, and some of them are so excellent at what they do. And I just want to unpack that more and talk about their craft, and the fact that they can hold master classes. These people have something to teach us, you know. They're not just there for entertainment, they're professionals in their field. So that's another thing that I want to do. And then creating more niche work and tightening up my creativity, and my conceptual work. Definitely want to market and brand myself differently, and that's about to spread. So I'm excited for that. Those are my plans for the near future and the future beyond. We hope it works out.
No, it's gonna work out, you know.
Yeah. No, definitely. There's not a way. I'm not here for anything else.
I mean, I think sometimes what I like about the creative industry is the only place where you can have an inkling of an idea and you can see it come to life. Not necessarily fully how you want it sometimes, but then there's always that guarantee it's gonna happen somehow, some way, you know. So I think that's the beauty of it. Coming up with the Creative Nestlings was a completely selfish idea. I wanted to make a film. I just didn't know where to go. So I built a community where I could make film. I never made the film, but now I'm getting into making films after 10 years of helping everybody else make films and make their ideas happen. You know?
Yeah? I'm saying that was a very long route you took there to making a movie.
Dude.
I kind of got lost in the sauce, you know, of other people. Because it's intoxicating to be around people and to engage with people and see them, their light bulbs kind of come on, you know, and once that happens once, you want to help the next person, you want to, you know, break bread with the next person, travel and meet people and stuff. So funny enough, last year I made my first documentary last year. This year I was supposed to make my first feature film. I haven't because of Corona, but then hopefully next year that happens. So it's a journey, you know. But with that, you know, interest of time, thank you so much for being open and honest about your journeys and, you know, being young and creative on the continent and stuff. Congratulations to all of you for all your successes and what you've all achieved and stuff. We are going to be the ones buying your work, you know, once we are rich enough to afford it, you know. But thank you very much for doing this at such a late time. But this has been insightful for me also, and really amazing and stuff. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you. And
Thank you
that's
for
about
doing
it
this.
on our side. Yeah.
Ooh.
Take care. Enjoy your
Bye.
weekends.
Thank you.
No,
Bye.
we'll see each other in real life soon.
Yeah.
Make a platform where we can share books. You know, for me, like, I think that's what's important right now. Like, as much as we're not around each other, at least we can start sharing books to start reading, you know. And for me, I feel like I'm at a point in my life, like I've gotten like, I think like some of the keys that Kenya's looking for is like, I can definitely share books with her on like some business ideas on like work. And I think Lula is interesting in terms of like working in like education and like arts. I'd like to like get more books and like understanding around that. And if Dylan can facilitate that, then that would be amazing.
Yeah, we'll add you. I mean, Katlego, you are in the WhatsApp group, I think. I don't know if you're still in the WhatsApp group. No. Okay, I'll re-add you to the WhatsApp group. And then I'll add Lula and Steph. There's other like 90 other creatives across Africa. So I'll add you if you want onto the WhatsApp group. You can share what you're working on, ideas, resources, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye to the Facebook world. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. Yeah. Take care. Bye.